back to Metal Minutia.
Episode 2. I'm Ray, this is Phil.
Hello.
We're here to talk to you about heavy metal in far more detail than you ever thought you needed to hear about it.
The small things. The things between the things. The tiny things. The tiny things. The subatomic, you might say. Actually, that's probably a better name for this podcast. The Subatomic with Ray and Phil.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Shame we already started.
Yeah. Delete everything and start again. What are we talking about today? What's going on?
What albums you been listening to? What's been happening in... Have you been listening to any albums?
Yeah, absolutely. I do listen to albums sometimes, from time to time. I do
Heavy metal albums?
I do listen to heavy metal albums, heavy and metal.
Yeah, both.
And yeah. So on the currently now spinning currently. Tarot, Glimpse of the Dawn. Tarot from Tasmania, Australian band. Tasmania's in Australia. For those of you out there who weren't aware. And that's geography, you know?
We
also talk about geography.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah.
Geology might come into it too, you don't know.
Absolutely. Science.
Yeah.
Tarot, this new album, a couple months ago, come out on Cruz del Sur. It's really good. It's a triumph, actually. I'm proud to say it's an Australian album, and it sounds fantastic. The tones, the guitar tones, the performances, and the songs are great. The songs are killer. It's the most refined album by this band so far, and yeah, a contender for album of the year actually at this point.
Ooh.
I'm
Big call early.
yeah.
I guess we're 6 months in.
6 months in.
We're at the halfway mark.
Yeah, I got a couple.
Any other contenders?
Yeah, Freeways, Canadian band, released in March. Dark Sky Sanctuary, it is called, on Dying Victims Productions. Probably my favourite underground heavy metal label at the moment. Killer bands across that roster. But yeah, this Canadian band, this is their second album, and their first one was good fun, nice, easy going, like cruising, driving down the highway at a safe speed.
Yeah.
You're not speeding down the highway. You're safely cruising down the highway.
So it's 110 zone. You're probably going 105.
Exactly.
Cruise control on.
Cruise control. You're comfortable. You're responsible. You know, you've only had one mid-strength beer, so you know you're okay to drive.
And that was
right?
2 hours ago.
Yes, we're totally safe. We're totally safe. Yeah, that was the first album, but this time around, there's a bit more.
There may be 115 in the
115, maybe possibly 118. You know, on the longer straights.
Yeah, nice.
And
on the downhill.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's great fun.
Yeah, nice.
You know, sounds killer. Great songs. It's not too long. You want some more, which is the best possible feeling at the end of an album, right?
Yeah.
The best possible. That's what.
Just put it on again.
Yeah, that's fine. But the fact that you want to put it on again.
Yeah, no,
you know?
that's a good feeling. You get to the end, you're like, oh, I could listen to something else, or I could
just rock this again, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what a band wants to hear as well. A band wants to hear someone say, man.
Yeah. It's not like, the first 3 songs were good. Then
yeah. No, we don't
interest.
want that. No.
No.
Anyways, great energy throughout.
Yep.
And that's not what I've been listening to lately. And contenders for the album, actually, that's a bit too heavy. I'll just say what else I've been listening to lately. Which
we
is,
don't need to go into it.
Contact, another Canadian band, actually. Man, the Canadians love it. They do what they want as well. Like weird things, odd things, strange things, just random things come out of Canada. And I don't know what's going on lately, but like something's in the water, and it's unreal. Banana Peel. Full Contact is the name of this. It was the name of this album. Yep. I'll get back to geography in a second. All right.
Where in Canada are they from?
Yeah. I don't know anything about Canada. Canadian geography.
You're an Australian specialist.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah.
That's okay.
No, Canada. They're in the part. Above the other part. This is their first full-length album. Second release, but first full-length album. Okay. Again on Dying Victims Productions. Great label. And these guys are weird. These guys are a strange band. It's very difficult to comfortably put them into a genre. It's strange. It's heavy. It's dark. And his voice, it does odd things. Like he's got a bit of a shriek going on. He's got a bit of like it sounds like a sci-fi movie from the 70s, you know, on a low budget.
Nice.
But you want to be there, you know, you love the vibe, you know, the atmosphere. It totally gets that across, and that's absolutely what they want as well. It's very much in their aesthetic, the random 70s, 80s kind of sci-fi, you know, B-grade horror movie kind of look. Yep. full of heart as well. Like sounds passionate. I'm really into it. I love
Yeah.
Contact. Yeah.
Nice.
And you, Ray.
I got a few. Borknagar's latest. I've been putting that on repeat a fair bit, to the point where I kind of have to tell myself to listen to something else.
You might have a problem.
Yeah, I get that way with albums sometimes, which I enjoy. But no. So I was lucky enough to see them in Norway just a couple of months ago, and they played a few tracks off it, and I already liked it, but that took it to another level for me. But it's been a really good one. If you like the vocals of ICS Vortex, it's the thing to listen to.
Excellent.
Bruce Dickinson's new one has been getting a run.
Yeah. What's it called? Why can we not think of what it's called? It's in my
Afterglow of Ragnarok.
Mandrake. The Mandrake project.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Yeah. That's this year. That come out in the last couple of months.
Yeah.
I like it too.
Yeah. The unusual move of so the Book of Souls opened with the Iron Maiden album opened with When Eternity Fail, or If Eternity Would Fail, or whatever they called it, and then this one has this was originally a Bruce.
Yeah, tell me more about this. I don't understand what's happened. Is it? Did he write the song and Iron Maiden recorded it and he wasn't happy with it? Do you know?
So he originally wrote it for the solo album, which came out now.
Yep.
Some 8-9 years later.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know why it's on both. I guess they wanted something that would sort of kickstart the Book of Souls album. And it's a bit of a rocker.
Yeah.
It's a bit faster on the Iron Maiden one and a bit more Iron Maiden-y. Also, the lyrics are a little different.
Okay.
Because it's the new one. The lyrics are past tense. I think the Iron Maiden one, the chorus is "If eternity would fail."
Yeah.
And this one's because eternity has failed or something.
So it's before and after the fact.
Yeah. But it's they're very similar otherwise. But it's kind of a cool-ish. Yeah, I think it's cool. Not everyone will care.
Let's talk about something really insignificant about this, which is what we're here for, right?
It was actually the first Iron Maiden song in non-standard tuning, I believe.
Okay, yep, right.
Because, obviously a lot of Bruce songs...
he tunes down a bit. Roy Z, the guitar player, is pretty like a modern player, and I mean that as a compliment. Like, he does some pretty random things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was sort of I believe Iron Maiden originally tried to play it.
Yeah.
Is that E? They're not E flat, are they?
No, they're E.
Yeah. The true tuning.
Yeah. The one true tuning.
So that was the first Maiden song, I believe. That was they had to knock down.
Yeah. I got a question for you.
Yep.
Which you couldn't possibly answer unless you're into your copyright law, unless you've done your research. Unless you've done research on copyright law for the last 12 years, you probably don't be able to answer this question. I wonder if it's two different songs under because the title's slightly different and the lyrics are slightly different. I think that bears more weight than when songs than the melody of songs. I believe so. And
I think if I were to record it, and claim it as my own song, if eternity might fail, like a ponderous hypothetical version of the. I think I'd get.
What are the odds that eternity would fail? Just make
it a question.
Yeah. Eternity has failed?
I think I would probably get in trouble. I think Bruce could sue me in that instance, but I guess because he's written both of them.
Yeah.
He can.
He's not really stressed about it.
No.
Yeah. He's not really stressed
not
about
going to sue himself.
No.
But I know what you mean though. Other people do get little. Like producers often get a clip of the ticket and that kind of thing on royalties. So
do you reckon if he hypothetically sued you for this song that you've hypothetically written, that's hypothetically quote unquote written?
Yeah.
And you're a modern musician and you make basically no money off your music whatsoever.
Yeah.
So you've made $12 off your Bandcamp sales of this album, and he sues you hypothetically for this $12 that you've made.
I might have to pay costs as well, though. That's what they get.
Costs.
Yeah.
All right.
Probably not damages. I don't know if I'm high profile enough to damage. Anyone.
Yeah. I like you, man, but sorry to say, I don't think you're high profile enough to cause damages to Bruce Dickinson. This hypothetical song that you've.
Yeah, I'll play it safe. I won't do it.
We're not doing it?
No,
not doing it? Right.
No,
putting the kibosh on that.
Yeah, leave it be.
Final decision. All right.
But that's another album that I've been listening to, and
Anything retro? What have you been revisiting?
Well, I had Abigail on earlier today. Oh, actually,
Yes.
one I was because I'm soon to be unemployed. It was a relevant album for me to put on. Woods of Ypres, Canadian band.
Very good. Yes.
Yeah, they're
yes, I know these guys.
Grey Skies and whatever. They're the last album.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a song on that, "Career Suicide is not real suicide."
Oh dear. That's a great title.
Yeah, and yeah, it's a good chorus as well. Oh, it's good content of the song. It's just we're all expendable to the corporate.
Yeah, man, that's heavy metal.
Yeah, so
That's heavy metal.
I had a bit of a drive the other day, and I was listening to that, which was pretty much the perfect length for a drive as well.
Nice one.
Which is good.
Yeah, I love it when those things come together.
Yeah,
That's another thing we could possibly extrapolate upon in great detail is when tiny insignificant things that people in other walks of life will look at us like, you're an idiot, like who cares, like just have the radio on until you get there.
Yeah.
But we're like, man, when an album is exactly as long as your drive is, or you get there with say like 90 seconds of debriefing time in the car by yourself, like that's one of the most satisfying things that there is.
For sure. When I was many years ago, I lived in Wollongong. Had band practice up in Sydney on a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And it would take me exactly the length of Invictus by Virgin Steel to get there.
Yeah. Which is soon to be on the tourist information pamphlet for Wollongong. It's like, hey, we're only an Invictus by Virgin Steel away from
Vintage Sounds. Yeah, Vintage Sounds in Marrickville. Not there anymore.
No. What other times has this worked out for you? Has that been a common occurrence or pretty rare?
Very rare.
Yeah. And because the other thing is that it's time specific as well, because you know how
it's Saturday traffic's a lot better than a Monday morning.
Exactly. And also time of your life as well. Like you're certainly in Melbourne for a couple of months. If you're doing the same drive again and again, or you do it at separate times in your life, you're not always going to put on that same album. And that even lessens the odds that you're going to have that experience in your life, that you go for a drive. And I can't believe we're talking about this right now. But this is what we're here for, right?
Yeah,
this is the pass between the parts, right? That's what we're talking about.
Albums coming up. I got one. So Blind Guardian re-recording Somewhere Far Beyond. We'll talk about re-recordings in general later. But so Quest for Tanalorn, you know the song I'm talking about. So that's been released. I saw and listened to yesterday. Yeah. Any
feelings? No, you go first.
So I mean,
by the way, Ray's the biggest Blind Guardian fan on the planet. This one that to be known before you're about to hear anything that he says. Everything that Ray says about Blind Guardian has been taken into the utmost of consideration.
Yeah, I don't.
Utmost.
And it's not without precedence them re-recording things either.
Okay.
It's on the Memories of Time to Come, the greatest hits. They re-recorded, and then there was Silence. And that I actually prefer that version.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So I'm not against. I mean, people can do what they like, of course. I'm not against the idea of the re-recording. I assume the one song that has been put out, I mean, it sounds good. It sounds like a modern Blind Guardian recording.
Yep.
Which I like.
Yep.
I'm not against that. I'd say it feels a tad unnecessary. But maybe they just had a spare weekend or whatever.
The short spiel I read about it was, and this was very short, was that it was recorded between 2022 and 23. So it was recorded across some period of time.
Yeah, right.
So it sounds like something they were revisiting when they felt like it.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, maybe
It's a lot of effort.
It is a lot of effort, but I mean they've got their own studio, so they, it's probably not that much. It's not like they have to book things and organize it, And they tour that album. Because they did the Imaginations in its entirety. So maybe they're looking
in the recent past.
Yeah, I think probably like 6 or 7 pre-COVID, but not that long ago.
Yeah.
I think I could be wrong on that.
Yeah.
Well, they did it.
So they haven't done a celebration tour for.
I don't think they've done for Somewhere Far Beyond, and maybe I mean this with all
Utmost of consideration, all right?
And respect.
It's already gone on record that
Yeah.
Ray, utmost of consideration and respect.
If they are considering doing the Somewhere Far Beyond one, like it's been a long time since that album was released, and Hansi is not the same age.
He's not. And his voice is not the same age.
Yeah. So it could be a way
We're not talking about his ability to lift weights. We don't know about that. And that's not our concern. Right?
Yeah.
But
So maybe it's a case that he just wanted to like reset people's idea of what the vocals like, because he does go for it, but he's like it's gonna be a bit different,
Yeah.
right? So it could be like just re-record it in how we will sound now, and then do the tour. And
okay, yeah.
because
So
like Somewhere
potentially-
Far Beyond the song is pretty wild with
Yeah.
some of those vocals. They're not.
Yeah.
You can't just do that.
No.
You shouldn't.
Most humans can't just
It's
do
unsafe.
that at any time of their life.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you heard this Tunnel, could you tell if it was in a different tuning off the top of your head?
I didn't I couldn't off the top of my head.
Nah, that's
my
fair,
ears
that's
not very
fair.
good anyway.
I'd be curious about that, yeah.
But yeah, I didn't back to back him, but it's like,
As a fan that you are, like a big fan, for you, like it's not a problem, right? They re-record it, they can do whatever the hell they want, and you're not miffed by it, or it's
You can always just listen to the other one.
Just not listen to it. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you don't have to go on the internet and write vitriol and hate speech in their direction.
I don't think you ever have to really do that.
I don't think anyone has to do that ever. Yeah.
I don't like to spend my time doing that sort of thing.
No.
I can just ignore it.
Yeah. I'm just fascinated, but I am fascinated by that. Like, why do it? But you've given a perfectly logical explanation as to why, possible.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, what if they re-recorded Nightfall in Middle Earth? What if that happened? How do you think you would feel about that?
Yeah.
It's different, isn't it?
I don't know why it's different. It shouldn't be different. Well, I guess because Nightfall was already a pretty modern sounding. They'd gotten to the place that they were going to get
Yeah.
to.
Oh, absolutely. Let's. Do we agree on that? That like basically in 2002. Production hasn't changed since then. Like that's as clear as drums are gonna get.
Yeah.
Like from then onwards, like re-recording anything is unless it's a completely different arrangement. Like it's basically pointless.
Yeah.
Like that's musically recorded instruments can't sound any clearer than that to a certain point. Sorry, cut you off there, but I just is it different? Why is it different that we would feel differently about that?
We're at times irrational beings, us humans.
At times.
At times.
What time of day? What time of day are you irrational?
What time's it now?
Yeah.
3:12 on a Monday.
Yeah. 3:12 to 4:20 is my irrational time.
Otherwise, I lock it back in.
Yeah, other time totally reasonable.
Anyway,
And-
I didn't want to get too down the rabbit hole of re-recordings. I think we
Okay.
can take that on another time. But
Yeah.
also another album I've heard is coming, a new Solstifier album. I'm a pretty big Solstifier fan, so looking forward to that. But not too many other albums on the. I haven't had my ear to the ground. I've been too busy listening to Borknagar back to back.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, any upcoming for you that you're looking forward to?
I don't really have anything on the horizon at the moment, to be honest. I'm pretty fly by the seat. Like it's just if it comes up, it comes up, or somebody tells me about it. But I don't actively go looking for releases because, as you know, when your social media algorithms are what they are, the machine knows to tell you when.
It's got your
Big
best
Brother
interest.
knows. Big Brother knows what I want to hear, so I know that I'll, and
Still no new Rush album.
yeah, that's exactly. That's the only thing I really need to know about. Yeah. Actually, there's a tribute band.
I did see.
Yeah, have you heard about this? Yeah.
Oh, you go on.
There's a Rush tribute band. I think they're from the US. I think they're from California. Playing like a lot of the music of Rush, and from the 80s and from the 70s and 80s, and they're visiting Australia because Rush never come to Australia. And yeah, this is a wild thing because I think Rush fans are really going to come out for this because obviously Rush being split up and Neil Peart having passed away.
Rush fans being
Rush
unusual cats.
Absolutely, dedicated and fervent. This is a big deal, and I think that these shows are going to be well attended and cover things and nostalgia things. Absolutely, like by and large, are well attended anyways because it's an easy thing. It's an easy thing.
People
to
do
enjoy.
like things they already know.
People like things that they know. Absolutely. And I hesitated for a moment because I thought to myself, oh man, it's not really Rush, and I've never seen Rush before, but I only hesitated for about 3 seconds.
Yeah, and you bought VIP
Then,
tickets.
exactly. Bought tickets to every show in Australia. No, not quite. But yeah, I'll be there at the Melbourne show, which I believe is at Max Watts next month or the month after.
No, right. Cool.
Yeah, so that's coming up, and that's that'll be interesting.
All right. Well, let's get on to the topic of the day.
Very good.
Albums v playlists is the idea.
Perhaps a definition first.
Yeah.
We know what an album is,
Yep.
or do we?
Well,
An album, a set of songs.
Yeah, like a
Released commercially, or not necessarily released
released
commercially.
with a specific track listing.
Yes. That's important. Yeah, it's not just in a random order. It's a specific track listing in a certain order,
One artist.
curated by said artist, and released as a record, quote unquote, of its time.
Could be digital only. That'd be fine.
And that's fine because it's a record is a slang name for a vinyl, for an LP, if you want to say, but it's record because it's a record of its time or of something that happened. It's a volume as such.
Yes. Glad we got that.
Yeah. Minutia, man, is what we're here for. I don't feel bad.
No. And a playlist would be essentially anything that's not that. So, I mean, I've got a few very large playlists that I like to run. Metal songs when I don't want to choose is the name of one. I think that's about 50 hours or something. It's sort of getting towards 700 songs.
Gee whiz.
Rock songs for when people are over.
Are they written that? Is that the title on your phone? It
Yeah.
says rock songs for when people are over? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. They're public playlists on Spotify if anyone wants.
Very good.
And
Songs to murder people to in the 80s.
hypothetically.
Yeah, hypothetically. Yeah, Patrick Bateman songs.
Yeah. And then there's a relaxed vibes playlist as well, which is more your Leonard Cohen, Tom Waits type situation.
Yep.
That's a bit shorter. That's only sort of 20 hours long, but
Have you ever sat for 20 hours? No, that's a different conversation.
No.
Playlist could be anything, right? Like, so playlist are we talking about the idea of like a DJ, like a traditional DJ at a venue, playing a sequence of songs in a row to keep people engaged? Or is that that's a performance in itself, right?
Yeah.
Like DJing at a venue that's not a playlist. That's
DJs play sets.
right. It's a set. Okay,
Yeah,
cool. So we keep that to the side for the moment.
Yeah. They could be curated. I had a long drive. Well, it wasn't that drive. I was driving Sydney to Bowral. A couple of hours, whatever. But I'd made a playlist ordered in a way so that I just had to pick up a friend nearby, and then I knew by the time we got onto the highway and started sort of cruising that this song would start. And Blood and Gasoline by Virgin Steel came on right on cue. And I'll tell you, there is no better feeling than that.
What did the passenger think about
Nonplussed.
Yeah. It's a general air of bafflement, Yeah.
Why are you so excited?
Yeah. I mean, I guess it was a pretty good merge, but wasn't the best merge I've ever seen.
Yeah. Anyway, so it could be that, or my bigger playlists are obviously not needed to be listened to in order. They're there for shuffling.
Yeah.
The hope is that you won't get.
Yeah.
It's improbable that an artist will play twice.
Yes. What's the best of?
It's a compilation.
Yeah.
I don't think that
is that a third entity, or is it best of an album?
I guess it could be. I think that's a different kind of album. Generally not as good album, unless they're a band that
only writes good songs,
or that only has a couple of good songs per album. I would say.
Yes.
Because I think the joy of the album is not it's the deep cuts in there, and the some songs are better because of the song before it.
Yes,
and I think that's one thing that I really miss when I don't listen to albums. Is you're only getting a couple of songs by one of bands, and you're not getting those the deeper cuts, or even a lot of metal albums have interludes and things which I think are designed to set you up for the next song.
Of course. Yeah, that kind of thing, you're absolutely right. That's the joy of the album, is the artist is putting you in a certain place, so that when you go to the next place, you feel a certain way.
Mm.
That's what it's about. It's a story. So when you're listening to an album, you can't get to the third act of your story unless you know what happened in the first two acts. And it's the same information, even though it's not intellectual information. It's not saying John went down the street, he got on the bus.
Yeah.
Man, this is a great story already. Like, are you a knife edge?
I'm on the edge of my, edge of my seat.
Do you want to know what happens on the bus? Forgot his wallet.
Couldn't tap on.
No, it's a nightmare. This summer. Sorry. Yeah, it's not that kind of information, but it's a kind of information where it's you need to be put into a certain place so that when you get to the third act of the album, you're already in that mindset, and then that means more. Because if you get to, like, if you just put on side B of Dark Side of the Moon and drop the needle,
Confusing.
I mean, you're probably still going to have a good time, right?
Well,
Because
yeah.
every second of that album is unreal, but it's only unreal as a whole because you've had to go through a certain experience sonically to get to a certain part, and then that part means more.
Yeah, you get the it's the big openers and the big side B in the older albums. Well, albums that were made for vinyl, I suppose.
Yeah, of course.
Or cassette, the lesser the lesser appreciated.
Vinyl's
format.
little brother. Vinyl's lost cousin. Yeah. Vinyl's absolutely rubbish. Friend's younger brother's relative that no one wants, but
Yeah, you can't
kind of
get it.
has to be around.
Yeah, sometimes we've all had old cars.
Yeah.
Although, like CD, when you've got the hidden track way at the end, like there'll be
Yeah.
like 4 minutes of silence after the last track, and then you get
Oh man, let's talk about that. That's fascinating. CDs is a different medium to vinyl, right? Like there are bands that are absolutely CD bands. They're not vinyl bands.
Yeah.
And like Typo Negative is a great example of that, right? All their albums are 78 minutes long. They weren't releasing vinyl. They weren't releasing cassettes that were 78 minutes long. They were that long because they were like, "Hey man, I need to pack on as much drama and ridiculousness as I can. How much time do we have?" Peter Steele would say.
yeah.
You got 79 minutes and 59 seconds.
Use them all.
Use them all. Have fun.
David DeFay, he uses them all.
Oh yeah. And for better or worse, right? For better or worse. Like there's moments in some Typo Negative albums where I'm like, oh man, this is stressing me out a bit. But like Bloody Kisses is a great example. That album's 70 something minutes long. Phew, by the time you get to that 68th minute, it's like, phew, man, I've been through a journey. I've been up and down. I've been over here, over there.
10 minutes to go.
Yeah. It's still got 10 minutes to go. Typo Negative, CD bands. Oh yeah, you said something about
Like hidden tracks.
the hidden track. Yeah, a distinctly compact disc phenomenon that we will never know again because, like, I don't know if you've noticed, but when you look on Spotify and there's the last songs on albums that had hidden tracks on CDs, they're not there. The song just ends
where it should.
where it should. The song just ends where it should. Like,
They haven't like cut the track and added it as a bonus track.
I reckon that would exist. I reckon that would exist. But there's a couple of examples I can think of specifically where, like, Mastodon Blood Mountain is one of those. It's got a hidden track on the album, and when you play it on Spotify, the song just ends at 5.5 minutes or whatever it is, and that's the end of it. So I'm not saying it's any great loss for the for humanity's artistic exploration, but that's it's a phenomenon. You know? That's a time period, a time specific kind of phenomenon.
And only really a few years too.
Yeah.
Like,
it only lasted a few years.
Yeah. Because that would, like, people weren't doing that until mid-90s, I wouldn't think, because everything
It's a great call.
would be like, CD was almost the afterthought of the vinyl until I don't know.
You're so right. Yeah. Like CD didn't really hit its stride until the Death Knell sounded.
Yeah,
and then,
it was like-
and it was over. Yeah.
over before it began.
Yeah. Oh man, these are the Queens of the Stone Age album, Songs for the Deaf. I shit you not. This is bizarre to me. I didn't believe it until I actually did it myself. You put on your CD player, and if you press the scan in reverse, like, it rewinds. And it goes from track, it goes into negative, and it starts. Yeah, this is true. It starts playing. It go back so far. Like, you hold scan and it goes back maybe 40 seconds, and then it plays,
Right.
and counts down. It happens. Like, I didn't believe it, but you have to have a proper, like, an actual CD player.
Yeah, of course.
It does. Bizarre, and that is 100% compact disc thing. You know, never to exist in any other.
Yeah, you can't do that with vinyl.
No, you can't. You might fuck it though.
Putting the needle in dead space. So when do you prefer a playlist? Do you prefer a playlist at any point?
Oh, almost never.
Almost never.
Yeah, almost never. I think in the company of others, basically, is the only time that I'll put one on purpose.
Yeah, it can be. It can be a bit challenging if you got people over.
Yeah,
because you want to enjoy an album.
Yeah, exactly.
And
exactly,
you can't have polite conversation and be like,
yeah,
this bit's coming.
Yeah, yeah.
Just quieten down.
Track 6, Abigail. Can everyone just shut up for a second?
Yeah, it's not very social.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
So a playlist does work better in those circumstances.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Yeah,
I find the very long drive.
Mm-hmm.
I need the playlist.
Why?
Like we're talking sort of 6 to 10 hour drives, where I want a constant surprise of what's next to keep my brain from going to places it should.
Brain from driving off of the blood and gasoline.
Yeah. So I find that's a good way to keep the energy levels up.
Yep. And you're wondering what's next.
Yeah.
That's part of it, right?
Yeah. You know, I make playlists full of songs that I like, so...
Yeah. I'm the audience.
Yeah. They're tailored to me.
Yeah.
So I'm often quite impressed with what's next.
I must say, I am blown away by my work.
Yeah.
I am unreal, I'll tell you what.
Yeah. I think over Christmas I did the drive up to Sydney in sort of 8-9 hours or whatever, and it's like, yeah. I reckon I said, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
About 30 times.
Yeah. You're like, man, this guy's bringing the goods.
Nailed it. Again.
Yeah. Oh, who's in charge, mate? This is killer.
Yeah, it's good to mark your own homework.
Yeah. Mark your own homework. Fantastic.
Also, kind of, I do find at work, when I'm working and waste a lot of my life in meetings, but I'll have little 30 to 60-minute gaps, and I'll be like, just do some stuff.
Something that you don't have to be like laser focused for. Like, are you talking about just like busy work that you've got to get done, or what kind of concentration level are we talking?
I don't want to ruin my future employment. But it's more the we have access to all the music in the world now on a phone. Yeah. So I need, sometimes decision paralysis is a problem.
Yeah.
And I've got 30 minutes to do something. Just put on a playlist.
Okay.
Because then I don't have to make a decision.
That's a great...
Because otherwise I might spend 15 minutes working out that I really just want to listen to the new Boknagar album.
Yeah. Yep. So that's a great problem solver there. Apart from company, I can't think of another real circumstance where I'd put on a playlist.
Do you get the decision paralysis? How do you go about your...
That's the price I pay.
Yeah.
And I do pay it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll waiting that extra 5 minutes before I go for that 10-minute drive. It's ridiculous, right? But no, I want to listen to the 10 minutes of music I want to listen to right now. I don't want it to be fed to me by someone else, Yeah, and then I end up just wasting time.
Yeah.
Or so that is the price I pay for that because, but
worth it.
Yeah, 70% of the time it works every time. Yeah, most of the time I'll find something worth it and I'll be rewarded for that.
Yeah.
The medium of the album is my favorite art form. It truly is. The medium of the album, not the song. It's the album, even though. And everything that comes with that, the packaging, the cover art, the presentation, that's paramount to me, and that's my favorite thing. And my favorite artistic statements in heavy metal have been albums, things that go from they take you from 0 to 110 mile an hour. They take you from the bottom of the mountain to the other side of the world, and you can only get there by going through that journey. And as pretentious as that sounds, I stand by it. I'm
on board. I kind of, in a way, the decision paralysis thing. I remember certainly, actually, through most of my career, having I'd have like half a dozen CDs in my drawer at work.
Yeah.
I reckon probably in 07, 08, I used to listen to The Nameless Dead by Primordial on like maybe 4 times in a day.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like,
Yeah.
probably should put something else on at some point.
Yeah.
Even, because I get a bit too focused on,
Yeah.
like a couple of years ago, I listened to way too much Marillion, Clutching at Straws.
Yep.
Good album. Maybe don't listen to it 300 times a year, though.
Yep. Okay. Yep. Taken on board. Mental note.
Yeah. Like once a month's fine.
Yeah. How often have you revisited that since?
A few times. So it was 2022. I was listening to it heaps.
Yeah.
And then I sort of took probably 9 months off in 2023, and then I've like introduced it back at safe levels.
At safe levels. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I really like your approach to this. It's it sounds like you're handling it safely now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Recovering.
Yeah, it's tough. We've all been there.
Yeah. What albums have really hooked you in?
All right. Well, I may as well just go to the top and tell you
Go for it.
Let's talk about the ones at the top of the pyramid. Judas Priest, Sad Wings of Destiny, which as it stands is probably not my favorite Judas Priest album. My favorite Judas Priest album is Stay in Class because of like the songs on that like take me to the place I want to be. It's like it's kind of glam. It's kind of it's like 70s glam, 70s British glam, but it's heavy as hell. And he's the vocals and the guitar solos and Staying in Class, everything everything I want is there. But as far as like the journey, as in like starting from 0 to 42 minutes in, and where you go from side to side and up and down, Sad Wings of Destiny is like the ultimate Judas Priest statement, I think, and it's one of the ultimate heavy metal albums.
Top rated Judas Priest album according to Metal Archives.
Right? Yes, scientifically proven. Yeah. 9 out of 10 doctors recommend. Yeah. So Sad Wings, Judas Priest, Queensryche, Operation Mindcrime.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, like scientifically.
Yeah. I mean, it's fact.
It's fact. Yeah. And that's one of the ultimate statements, I think, of the progressive metal. Don't know why I quote unquoted that, but I guess because I feel like calling Queensryche a progressive metal band is sometimes a detriment to them, because it progressive metal in itself is kind of a bit of a gives the expectation of being like, they've got to be a certain thing, or the
Dream Theater type.
They couldn't be more different.
Yeah.
As bands, it's almost kind of a pointless genre name in a sense. But anyways, that's a different conversation. But yeah, Queensryche, Operation Mindcrime, absolutely. Yeah, and I like that this is probably the 10th time we've brought this up in our second episode only. But King Diamond, Abigail, like, mate,
Yep.
Actually, that's 2 concept albums back to back. So a pattern is forming.
Forming.
I like narrative.
Nightfall, Middle Earth.
Yes.
Well, to continue the.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's unreal. Probably the only thing about Nightfall that turns me off a bit is there's probably 1 too many interludes, maybe 2 too many. I reckon if they knocked off 2 interludes, it'd probably be an A+ album.
Yeah.
But judging by the way you're rolling your eyes at me right now, I can.
I'm just trying to think which 2 you'd cut. You don't want to hear about Numb the Wise?
No, I'm not really stressed about Numb the Wise. Like, there's enough emotion in the music to tell me that something's gone wrong with Numb the Wise. It doesn't need to tell me what just happened to Numb the Wise. It's kind of like...
It's a good intro one they have, though. That the good way to start the album.
Yep.
The field is lost.
Oh, yeah, that's...
Like one's fallen from the sky.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Oh, man, when they play that over the loudspeakers at the show, and you know what's going to happen. They're about to go into the storm.
Yeah.
And electricity is in the air. It's insane.
Yeah.
What's that called? The battle? What's it called? Whatever.
Yeah, I don't actually.
It's just the intro.
Yeah.
It's probably just called intro. No, I'm not. I'm sure it's not.
Yeah, it would have something dramatic.
Yeah. Yeah. Out of this world. That's what an introduction should do, and that's a justified introduction. You know?
Yeah.
Like a lot of albums have that 45-second or that 90-second thing at the start, and you're like, oh yeah, you know.
Well, Mindcrime's got a good one too. There, that sets the scene.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about musical introductions as opposed to progressive rock, pretentious introductions.
I mean, it's a real thing in a lot of, across most, probably not in death metal, but almost every other subgenre to have the the only time an orchestra appears is
Yeah.
to play the intro to
Yeah.
an album.
Yeah. Nice.
It's a curious phenomenon, isn't it?
Yeah. Screaming for Vengeance.
Oh. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, the Hellion going into Electric Eye.
Yeah.
That's a totally justified introduction.
Yeah,
That is.
it's a really
that is
good
unreal.
live version of that from early 80s, I
Yeah.
guess. It's an outdoor festival they're
Yep.
playing at.
Ah, yeah. That might be the US Festival, I think.
I think it's like a rainbow at the back of the stage, and
Oh, yeah.
you know, like the band sort of, you know, they do Hellion,
Yeah.
kicks into it,
Yeah.
and like the vocals start, but Rob's not there.
Where's Rob?
And you get like a helicopter view,
Yeah.
not action, and he's like slowly walking from backstage singing,
Yeah.
and he gets to the stage
Yeah.
for the I Made of Metal.
Yeah.
Line?
Ah, yeah. That's quite a bit into it.
Yeah, he's
First pre-chorus, maybe. Yeah.
he does the whole verse backstage.
Jeez, you'd be a bit confused, wouldn't you?
Oh,
You'd be
yeah.
like, jeez, I thought Rob was still in the band. I thought Rob was still in Judas Priest in 1982.
Yeah, turns out he was.
Turns out he totally was.
But he just
Yeah.
he's a king of nonchalance.
Isn't he? He can saunter and stroll as he pleases. Like when the energy levels are so high on stage, he can still just, he's just in command.
Yeah, he doesn't need to rush.
Nah,
He's got handcuffs.
not at all. Yeah, mate. Everyone else is in trouble.
Yeah,
Rob's got the handcuffs.
he's working out who he's arresting.
Exactly.
You better slow down, buddy.
Yeah, he's in charge.
What about live albums? What's your
Live albums. Generally not a fan.
Yeah.
I like them more as a memento than an actual listening experience. You know, I like looking at a live album with the spread, you know, and all the pictures. And
Yeah,
the
yep.
memento of the time. And I'll listen to it, but it'll generally be a background thing. Actually, that might be a good one for when I have company, when friends are over. Put on a live album. You know? No, generally not a fan, just because with albums I'm such a huge fan of production and order. Unless I'm there experiencing it, I can't say that most live albums really take me to that place. However, having said that, there are of course a couple huge exceptions, like UFO Strangers in the Night.
Right.
Live album from 1979, covers their first 5 or 6 albums, and it's out of this world. That's one of my favourite albums of all time, and it's a live album, and so that absolutely does the trick. That's one of those things that if someone's a fan of live albums, that ticks all the boxes that I imagine that they're looking for in other live albums that don't hit the spot for me. But yeah, Strange in the Night's got it all, and I'm a huge fan of the Priest one. Can you tell I'm a Judas Priest fan? This is a paid advertisement for Judas Priest.
We get $1 from Rob.
Yeah.
No, we don't.
Yeah, I'm not arrested. We don't get arrested by Rob Halford. Yeah, what's the first Judas Priest live album? Unleashed in the East. Yeah. There's a bit of a sticking point with Unleashed in the East is that he re-recorded those vocals in the studio afterwards. They were live performance, but he was crook on the night apparently and didn't put in, wasn't able to give the performance.
Yeah. I mean, that's the
Deserving the
kind of
time.
the thing with live albums.
Of course.
Like Thin Lizzy's Live and Dangerous is said to be. I'm not.
Yep.
My,
Allegedly.
yeah, my lawyers have.
I'm doing the talking marks.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Re-recording.
Yep.
Elements like the Guns N' Roses live era live album.
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah, when they just and Blind Guardians.
Yeah.
2 live albums actually.
Yeah.
They just record 1 million gigs.
Yeah.
And pick the best. You pick a version. I can't imagine they differ hugely, but
yeah. Get a
you-
good take from here, good take from there, good song from here, good song from there.
Yeah, and I guess that the Somewhere Back in Time Maiden DVD. I guess I don't know. I guess it was a CD release as well.
Yeah, the one with the concert movie, and that they also followed them around.
Yeah,
on the tour.
yeah. Then you get 1 song from each.
Yeah.
And then I guess you would have certainly gotten there. I was at the Melbourne show.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and the Brisbane one actually, I think.
No, right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, live album. Yeah, that's absolutely going to be the problem. There is that nailing a performance, but everything as well, like the crowd being into it, the recording equipment actually physically capturing a good take on the night, because there's all these variables and you just simply don't know. Like it's all theory until it happens. So you can mic it up well, but like who knows what's going to happen on the night.
There's one I really like. It's so Warning, watching from a distance live at Roadburn 2019. I'm going to say.
Yep.
Who knows when it actually was?
Yep.
So I prefer to listen to the live than the studio.
Yeah.
Which is I think an unusual. Like most of the time, you're going studio.
Yeah.
I think because it's probably better.
Yeah. Invariably, it's gonna be
should
better.
Be better.
Yeah, it should be better in theory.
If you've had a million takes.
Yeah.
But there's something about that. Maybe it's more to do with that style of doom, and it's quite a emotive vocal performance, but even like it's quite a funny live album in that there's just like heaps of dead space in it where they're like tune up.
Really?
Yeah. They're sort of like the first, 45 seconds to a minute is just like sort of crowd murmuring, and then they walk out and then they turn their guitars on.
That's really peculiar.
Yeah, but it feels way liver, if that's a way of.
I imagine that could work in both ways. Like if you've got it on and you're hanging out, you're going to feel, as long as you've got the time and the patience for that kind of thing, you're going to feel probably a bit more in the atmosphere.
When you're listening to an album of 4, I think there's 5 or 6 songs, or maybe 5 at the end, and they're like 10 to 12 minutes each. You're not listening to it unless you've got time.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're in for the long haul. Yeah, you're in for the long haul.
Yeah.
The album, as an art form, as I was saying before, as the ultimate statement of the genre.
Absolutely.
That's just where I'm at. So it's gonna be albums at the end of the day. But yeah, playlists are important and a necessary evil, in a way.
Yeah, in a world of infinite choice, you gotta rope it in at some point.
Yeah.
Draw a circle around it.
Yeah, I remain optimistic that, like you were saying, we've literally got the entire history of human recorded music at the touch of a button at any one time, so long as you've got internet reception. I'm optimistic that albums are still on there, bands are still making albums. They release them. No one buys them, but they they release, like they're getting released. And heavy metal are nothing if not sticklers. Heavy metal fans are nothing if not sticklers. And so there's always going to be people who are like, this is, I put this on, I listen to this from start to finish, or just collecting it, supporting the band. This is a huge thing in itself. And
absolutely.
And so I remain optimistic. I just wanted to get that across in case, because I can get a bit,
Yeah, I think that's it. Because an album really is, a body of work over 2 to 3 years, and it's the representation of where the band is at that point.
Yeah,
you don't often get good albums where they're spread out over a long time. I think that's probably pretty. That's when they've thought too much about it, maybe.
Yeah.
When you talk about the bands like Iron Maiden having golden run of album, what's the Number of the Beast to Seventh Sons? What?
It's
8
like
years?
5 years.
Oh, 5. Oh, yeah.
It's like 5 years. So that was 1983, 82 to 88. So 6 years.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
They weren't fucking around.
Yeah, they were not.
They weren't overthinking it.
They were not overthinking it. They were getting it done.
Yeah, and
maybe
they start to overthink it a bit. Is when like No Prayer, when they're like, we have to go back.
Yeah, they took 2 years off. That was the problem.
Yeah. But trying to find and whatever you can't keep that sort of productivity up forever. You need breaks in life.
Certainly, yeah.
But
we're not asking that of them,
No,
they don't owe us anything.
We owe them.
We owe them. Yeah.
Bands sort of have those good runs of where they're just in the zone and.
Yeah, I think you've touched on something important there about the body of work being compressed as such, or you'll find that the albums will be released close together, and that's momentum. Momentum is huge, right?
Yeah.
Like that's really important because it's motivation. When you're constantly cranking out tunes, and it gets to a certain quality, you're going to be more confident about the next one.
Yeah.
You know, if you've got a couple of extra years or a few months off to think about, like, man, how are we going to...
Yeah.
that one was pretty good. I don't know how we're going to top that. And then probably starts to creep in.
Yeah, and that's when I guess you see bands sometimes chasing what's cool rather than, you know, because tastes do change over, you know, if you between 2005 and 2010, things changed a fair bit, right?
Yeah.
I guess when bands that had been making albums in the 80s and then sort of the mid 90s hit and they weren't sure whether they should chase drop tuning or, you know, the influence of new metal or whatever.
Yeah.
Those sorts of things.
Yeah, it's a big thing.
Yeah.
I mean, influence and
or even like,
when you're open to that, if you're of the personality or if your band is of the personality or the circumstance your band is in is of the happenstance where it's like, well, we've got to play to some kind of... We've got to be, you know, if old mate from the label's looking over your shoulder, it all comes into play. And I guess it just comes down to how staunch you or your outfit is that you can remain artistically staunch or whatever you want to say about that.
Just like
hey, look, no judgment, right? Like,
do whatever you want.
No judgment, do whatever you want. And also, if you cave to pressure, well, then you caved to pressure. Like, it's just there's 1,001 ways that these things have played out over the years.
Congratulations for having a label guy that was going to pay you.
Right? Yeah. Someone paid for you to make music. You're already doing way better than I am in my life. You know?
Yeah, we're actually jealous.
Yeah, supremely jealous.
But yeah, I guess like the some kind of monster. I'm thinking that when they're having the conversation around whether there should be guitar solos on the album, you know, people don't really have guitar solos on albums anymore. Like,
yeah, that's fascinating. The conversation, because it's fascinating that they had the conversation. Yeah, the conversation isn't fascinating. Yeah, because to me, the conversation's like pretty quickly over. It's like, should we have guitar solos? Yes. Yeah, that's the end of the.
Why would we not?
Where's your data? Where's your scientific data? It's like, survey says yes.
100% of the time, have a guitar solo.
Yeah, albums for the win though.
Albums always
for the win.
Yeah.
Well,
I think
that's the final word.
Yeah,
I think we've knocked that out.
Yeah, playlists are okay.
The playlists are all right.
Fine.
But Metal Minutia say
albums
for the win.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us again, guys. Heavy metal.